Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of my ideas and tips on how you can manage small scale advertising campaigns within Google Ads in the most efficient and profitable manner possible. So if you're someone who is dealing with Google Ads accounts that have a very small, a very tight budget, to spend on ads, and you want to get the most out of that advertising budget, this video is probably going to be helpful for you. There are going to be 6 key tips I will cover in this video, and each one of these tips is going to be laser focused on improving the performance of small budget PPC campaigns within Google Ads. So without further ado, let's dive in. So tip number 1 is to come up with a very solid strategy for your keywords. And by that, I mean to come up with a list of keywords that are strictly relevant to what you are trying to advertise. Whatever your campaign goal is, you need to be able to relate to what the user's search intent behind a certain keyword might be, and how that is going to be relevant to your specific campaign goal. So when you go to the keyword planner and start feeding the keyword planner with your seed keywords to see what type of list you might be looking at, or what type of keywords people are actually searching around those seed keywords that you might include in your campaign, you have to be very careful whether those keywords have any meaning as far as your specific product or service or whatever it is that you are trying to market on your website is concerned. So for example, when we type in acoustic panels and click on this search, we are going to take a look at a very broad list of keywords that are going to be related to the base keyword that we typed in. So a lot of these keywords are going to be relevant, but still a lot of them are not going to be relevant. And in that case, you need to be very careful as to which keyword you're going to choose. So for example, here, soundproof foam isn't something that we would like to target because our target keyword is acoustic panels. So this isn't something we would like to include in our target list. So when you take a look at this list of keywords, you're not randomly selecting them or going to download from here and willingly including everything in your targeted list. That way, chances are that you are going to be targeting a lot of keywords that are not going to be relevant to the product and services that you are selling. And so those keywords are proving to be just budget burners, and they're costing you advertising dollars without giving anything in return as far as the ROI is concerned. Another thing around keyword that you need to be very careful about is the match type. So whenever you choose a keyword, there are different match types that you can apply to that specific keyword. And based on the match type, Google might expand or contract the reach of those keywords. So for example, the 3 match types currently we have is the phrase match. When you put those inverted commas around a keyword, it becomes a phrase match. That means any search term that a user is typing in on Google has to contain this specific phrase that we are instructing Google to ensure that this phrase match should be included in the user's query. Otherwise, our ad shouldn't be shown to that user. So anything that comes after it or comes before it is going to be considered as relevant as long as this phrase matches with the user's query. So someone might type in soundproof panels in Australia. In this case, because your targeted keyword was a phrase match, and this phrase is included in a user's query. So Google is going to consider this entire keyword as relevant to your specific situation. Similarly, someone might say high quality soundproof panels. Again, the soundproof panels is included in the keyword, and it's preceded by this other keyword that says high quality, although you are not directly targeting this high quality, but because it is being used in combination with the phrase that you are targeting as your keyword, Google is going to consider this entire search term, this entire keyword as relevant, and your ad is going to be shown to that specific user as well. So that is how the match type works. If you only use and this keyword without those inverted commas as a broad match keyword, without using any commas, without using any brackets, just the plain keyword soundproof panels, it becomes a broad match keyword. Now, in this case, the chances of Google showing your ad to people who are either using panels or using soundproof is going to be a lot higher. And that's not perfectly ideal when you have a very small budget, and you don't, and scalability isn't something that you're concerned about. You only want to target specific users with specific search intent. Then choosing a broad match keyword as a match type isn't something that you should consider for your campaign, because in this case you might end up getting a lot of junk traffic. It's very possible. And because soundproof is one keyword here, panel is another keyword here, so if a user types in anything that's to do with soundproof or panels, Google might still show your ad to those users. And a lot of times when you take a look at this entire search query by going to the search query section here. So for example, these are the actual search terms that users are typing in on Google, and these are being triggered by your targeted keyword. So for example, acoustic panels, Canberra here is our targeted keyword, but the actual search term is this. Sometimes it might differ from what you are actually targeting, right? So acoustic panels, Western Australia is one keyword. Again, here, acoustic panels, Perth, WA. Western Australia is the short form. It's not exactly the same as what you're targeting here. So these are the search terms. So in the case of broad match keywords, you are going to see a lot of search terms that aren't going to make much sense in your specific case. In that case, it's not going to be ideal for you to depend on broad match keywords. Instead, what you want to do is you either choose the phrase match as the match type, or choose an exact match keyword. By exact match keywords, we mean whenever a user types in this specific keyword, only then Google is going to show your ad to that specific user. You're basically instructing Google to not show the ad whenever someone types in something that is not this specific keyword that you're targeting, right? Anything that comes before it, after it, like this, are going to be disregarded when your match type is exact match. This is going to slightly narrow the reach of your campaign, so you're not going to be seeing a lot of traffic volume against those keywords, because when you become very specific, then you are factoring out all the possible keywords that users are typing in around this keyword. but because they are including something before it or at the end of it that's not matching exactly with what you have here, Google isn't gonna show your ad to those users. As a result, decreasing your ads impression and its overall reach. So preferably you might go with the phrase match keyword in the case of small scale campaigns where you don't have a lot of budget, but you do not want to go with the broad match keyword. For one, it's going to give you a lot of non-convertible traffic. Another reason, when you choose broad match keywords, there's a lot of negative keyword management involved in the process. So you're going to have to go through this search terms list almost every day, day in, day out, to check what kind of keywords people are actually looking for, right? And in the case of broad match keywords, you're going to have a lot of irrelevant keywords in this section that you want to put in your negative keywords list. So it involves a lot of negative keyword management that isn't ideal as well. When you have very small budget, you want to keep the management activities as minimum as possible, and at the same time ensure that you are still getting the best results out of every marketing dollar that you are investing in these campaigns. Tip number 2, when your advertising budget is very small, you don't want to run display advertising campaign. Display advertising is mainly considered for brand awareness purposes. From a conversion standpoint, it doesn't perform really well, especially when you compare it with the performance of standard search campaign. It doesn't perform that well. The reason is, when you run a display campaign, it's a push marketing strategy where you're pushing your ads to people who aren't necessarily looking for that product or service at that specific point in time. Someone is scrolling on social media or on a third-party website, browsing through something, and all of a sudden your ad pops up, trying to catch the attention of that user. But that person at that very point in time isn't necessarily looking for their product, and it's very likely that they are going to ignore it, or even if they click on it based on maybe the visual appeal of the ad, or just out of curiosity, or just randomly clicking on it. When people end up on your website, they're not going to make any purchases or take any meaningful action that you want them to take. So in that sense, Google display campaign isn't really effective when you take a look at its performance against key performance indicators like conversions, leads, revenue, and those kind of things. So your best bet is to rely on a standard search campaign where people are already looking for a product or service that you're marketing on your website. And since they are in the market for those products or services, the chances of you grabbing their attention, bringing them onto your website, and trying to convert them into an actual customer is going to be high compared to any other forms of advertising campaigns within Google Ads. So don't run standard display campaigns in parallel with standard search campaigns. And even in the case of search campaigns, when you set up a search campaign, there's this option to choose the networks, where you have the option to check mark the display network and partner networks. It's ideal that you turn off these options as well, both of these options, to ensure that your ad is only going to be shown to users who are looking for your product in Google searches, because the quality of the traffic you're getting from Google search is a lot better than any traffic that's coming from elsewhere. It could be from a partner network or display network. The quality of their traffic isn't going to be that effective as what you're getting from standard search campaigns. Tip number 3, choose manual bidding strategy. So when you launch a standard search campaign, in the bidding section, there are different bidding strategies available. There is a manual bidding strategy, and there are many automated bidding strategies, right? So your best bet is the manual bidding strategy at the very start of the campaign, particularly when your advertising budget is very small. When you go with automated bid strategies, um, you are not having full control over how your budget gets spent at the keyword level. So you want to make sure that you are opting for a manual CPC strategy, because it's allowing you to set a specific upper limit for every click that's happening, right? So when you say, for example, okay, so my CPC level for a specific ad group shouldn't go beyond, let's say, $2, it is not going to go beyond $2. So here the max CPC is set to 0.75 cents, which means you are instructing Google not to cross this specified limit. They can stay below this limit and target only those keywords or keyword variations that are costing less than 0.75 dollars. So that's important because when you go with automated bidding strategies, sometime a single keyword, a single click might cost you $20, $30. And at the very start of the campaign, since there isn't much data for Google's machine learning to analyze, it randomly tries to target different combination of keyword. Even if they cost ridiculously high, it goes ahead and targets those keywords. But that is clearly not a viable approach because when you have a very small budget, you don't want to spend $20, $15 on a single click. At the end of the day, what's the probability of that click to convert into a customer? It's just a click, and there's no guarantee that that person is coming on your website and is taking a meaningful action. That person might come onto your website like any other user and might bounce away right the next moment, or they might engage with your website and end up not taking any action, right? So you can't be that open to spend, let's say, more than $10 or $15 on a single click, no matter how valuable that click is in Google's point of view. At the end of the day, if you apply that human intelligence, it's just single click, right? The person isn't announcing to Google prior to clicking on your ad that I'm gonna go to this website and buying a product or service, right? It's just a click, and it doesn't make sense to spend the cost on a single click that can get you, let's say, 20 or 25 visitors or clicks. Because when you set a max CPC using manual bid strategy, essentially you are getting a lot of visitors for that certain amount. And as your account grows and your campaigns start to get mature, and you're having a lot of data around conversions, clicks, impressions, and everything else, at that point in time, you might consider switching to an automated bidding strategy, because at that point in time, Google is going to have enough data on conversions, and it will be able to determine as to how much a single conversion should ideally cost you based on the conversion records that you have within the account. But initially, or especially when your campaign's budget is small, it's ideal to choose a manual bidding strategy, because it's going to allow you to control things even at the keyword level. So you can go to the keyword section, and you can, depending on how much a certain keyword is spending and how much ROI is it generating, you can either bump this max CPC level a little bit up for that keyword, or you might reduce it a little bit for keywords that you feel aren't going to give you good return on your spending. So if a keyword is spending, let's say, $98 and it's not giving you much conversions, or its cost per conversion is very high, you might either consider reducing the max CPC, or maybe pause it, or do take some action that is going to make sense based on that specific analysis and the data you are seeing here around these different metrics, including cost per conversions, conversion rate, cost, impressions, click-through rate, quality score, and everything else. Tip number 4, if you're running a YouTube campaign, the best strategy is to include keywords in the search keyword section here. And just like you do include keywords for your standard search campaign, you can include keywords for your YouTube campaign as well, and set the image type as phrase image, and just put those inverted commas around the keyword to make it a phrase image. That way you are only going to be getting traffic from users who are interested to find something or watch something around specific theme or topics that are reflected in your target keywords. So essentially, whenever you pick a keyword, you're again going through that keyword research process and trying to see what type of keywords users are looking for, are typing in to find a specific product or service on YouTube. So once you choose those keywords, once you make a list of those keywords, include them in here, so that you are not going to get a lot of irrelevant traffic. If you don't include keywords, you are going to be getting a lot of irrelevant traffic that isn't going to convert into customers. Tip number 5, monitor search terms that users are actually typing in. Even if you're targeting keywords, it doesn't necessarily mean you are going to be getting users who are exactly typing in those specific keywords. Sometimes, based on the image type of your keyword strategy, people might be typing in something that might not be relevant to your business. So you are going to have to monitor the search terms very closely and almost every day to ensure that you're not going to get traffic repeatedly from a keyword that is not quite relevant to your business. So in here, you can compare the search terms from users and your actual keywords. If you don't see this actual keyword column here, you can go to the columns and you can type in keyword here, and you're going to be seeing this. If it's unchecked, you can check it and apply, and it would be somewhere here. You can bring it at the top so that it's accessible somewhere here, and now you're able to compare both the keywords. If you feel that this wasn't really a relevant keyword, you might want to know which specific target keyword triggered this one, right? So in this case, advice on parenting is the core keyword that triggered this one. And if you feel that there are repeatedly you're seeing a lot of keyword coming from advice on parents that are not relevant, you might either want to pause the root keyword, the core keyword, or maybe if it's broad match, you can change it to the phrase match. Or if it's phrase match and you are still getting irrelevant traffic, you might consider changing its match type to exact match to ensure that you are only getting traffic from the keyword that you are interested in, not the ones that you feel are irrelevant or they're not converting. You can also take a look at the data. So if your campaign has been running for a while, let's say for 30 days or so, you can change the time window here, and you can now take a look at which keyword is giving you the most click, right? So parenting courses is the keyword that has gotten us the most clicks. And now we can also take a look at the conversions. So if it's giving us the most clicks, costing us money, but isn't giving us any conversions, then it's problematic. You might want to do something about it, either pause it, change the core keywords image type, or take a look at your ad and see if you have some headlines or descriptions where you are highlighting this specific keyword, which shouldn't be there because it's not converting. If it does convert, it's okay. You can either include it from here. If it's not exactly matching with your target keyword, if it's a little bit different, you might. So for example, in this case, City of Chicago Family Support Service, this is a different keyword. And if you feel it's a relevant keyword and you take a look at the data, it's converting as well, you can just go ahead and add it as one of your targeted keywords. Now, if you can change the mesh type from here as well. If you put in those commas, it becomes phrase match, or if you put in the brackets, it becomes exact match. So you can choose the mesh type and save it, and it's going to be in your targeted list. And then once it's in your targeted list, you can go to your search term and you can change the max CPC level for that keyword. If it's converting well, you might want to increase the CPC level for this keyword because you want to give it a better chance of getting shown or getting triggered by your ad. So you would like to be willing to spend some more on it as far as the CPC is concerned. You don't see the CPC column here because this specific campaign is running on an automated bidding strategy. It's not on a manual bidding. So you don't see a max CPC column here. But in your case, since it's going to be a small budget advertising campaign, you can switch to the manual CPC, and then you will have that column here to give you full control over how you want to manage each and every keyword as far as their max CPC is concerned. All right, so tip number 6, and the last tip that I'm going to share with you is structuring your campaign in a way that you have a specific ad groups, and within those specific ad groups you have a specific keywords. So if you have a website, and on that website you have different categories of services or products, and you see that the keywords that people will be looking for related to those specific product categories or services are not going to be mutually inclusive. By that I mean the theme of the keywords are different. So for example, if you have an e-commerce website, and on that website you have a product section for babies, and then another category that is for, let's say, for women, you see that the nature of the product in those two categories are going to be different. So if you have a website where you have different landing pages to target different types of products or services, the best strategy is not to mix things up within Google Ads as well. Your Google Ads account structure need to reflect the same structure you have on your website. So grouping your campaigns into a specific keyword ad group is going to be very important. This is going to allow you to create super specific ads around those super specific keywords, and then routing that traffic onto a specific landing page where the chances of those users to convert into leads or customers are going to be very high. And another important factor is the quality score. When you have keywords, ads, and landing page copy that are relevant to each other, your quality score is going to be high. So when we say quality score, it's basically a combination of 3 factors: your landing page experience, your ad relevance, and your expected click-through rates. Your expected click-through rates, ad relevance, and landing page experience is going to determine your quality score. The more user-friendly your landing page is, and the more relevant your ads and keywords and the landing page copy, the higher is going to be the quality score, and the higher the quality score, the lower is going to be the cost per click. And as a result, you are getting highly relevant quality traffic for a lot less than your competitors might be getting, right? Because if you have, let's say, a quality score of more than 6, ideally 8 or 9, that means it drastically reduces your cost per click, and you're enjoying highly relevant traffic at lower cost, and your chances of getting them to convert into customer is also going to be higher, because these things are mutually related. When you have a high quality score, means you're only getting relevant traffic coming from relevant ads triggered by relevant keywords. And if such a user is landing on your website, that person is definitely taking some meaningful action if he or she is in the mode of buying something. Or even if that person isn't taking an action at that very moment in time, on that very occasion, later on they might come back and take that desirable action. So the process isn't very complicated. It's simple. You just have to identify a group of keywords that are going to be relevant to a specific landing page on your website, and then group them into different ad groups, right? So for example, here you can see we have green tiles, we have hexagon tiles. These Skages specific keyword ad groups are broken down based on the types of tiles here, right? So the green tiles, hexagon tiles, accent wall tiles, these are different categories of tiles we have on the website. So to target those specific categories, we have specific ad groups. And when I click on that ad group, within the ad group, all the keywords I have are going to be related to green tiles, green colored tiles, green backsplash tile. Everything is related to green tiles. And similarly, when you go to the ads, they are going to be relevant to these keywords as well. So you are going to have a lot of maybe headlines and keywords that are going to be including the specific keywords that you have within that ad group. When you do that, what happens is it's going to now help improve your quality score, because now you have specific keywords, and for those specific keywords you are using specific headlines and descriptions. And then on your landing page, you have specific categories that are strictly relevant to the keyword and ad that you have within Google Ads. And that, as a result, is going to improve your overall quality score, improving your chances of getting successful results from your paid advertising campaigns. That's pretty much it for today's video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any comments, please share them in the comment section. I will hopefully be getting back to you with some more useful tutorials on some different topics related to Google Ads. If you have some suggestions you want me to cover in future videos, I would appreciate you mention those in the comment section, and I will try my best to put together some more videos targeting the specific concerns you may have, or the specific topic areas you want me to cover. Thank you very much once again. I will see you soon in the next video. Till then, take care and have a wonderful day.